Hi, everybody. Starting out with something that we've probably all heard about already. Trump bombed Iran again with no congressional approval, no UN support, and none of our allies, aside from Israel, just made that decision without consulting anybody in Congress at all and not even letting anybody in the entire Democratic Party know what was going on. Here's the thing, this isn't just a Trump issue. It's a long, dangerous trend of American presidents bypassing Congress and international law to use the military, and it needs to stop. We have seen a perfect example of what a president should do in a situation where war is necessary. To me, the benchmark is FDR's request to the Congress to declare war on the Empire of Japan after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. He asked Congress to do this because it was the right thing to do. It was what was needed at the time. And there was a solid reason that Americans and Congress could get behind. Now, presidents don't ask. They just kind of do stuff. This bombing this weekend had no congressional approval, no declaration of war, no support from the UN, NATO, or any of our allies. In fact, Trump has made enemies of our allies in Canada, in France, in Mexico, Australia. They can't trust us to keep our word, and so we're just floundering right now as I am looking for words. There has so far been no proof that there was an imminent threat to the United States or any of our allies to justify this attack. And this isn't a collective. This isn't, trying to protect ourselves or our friends. This was a independent strike on a sovereign nation with, as I said, so far no justification. This isn't the first time a president has done something like this. Truman got us into the Korean War shortly after he preceded FDR. At least in that case, he had UN support, which is definitely not what's happening here. President Johnson got us into Vietnam via a really vague resolution that he got approved through Congress. Again, at least he got some kind of congressional approval. Reagan involved us in both Grenada and Libya. Those were at least quick strikes. So, I mean, if it's just this bombing and we stay out of Iran, I guess I can see it being constitutional, but I just don't see that is what's going to be happening, especially with the Iran retaliation to U.S. bases in Qatar. So there's an issue there. George H.W. Bush got us involved in military action in Panama. Again, I mean, at least there had been some attacks on U.S. citizens and service people in that area. But really, Panama declared war on us and we responded. So, I mean, still not congressional approval. You need to ask the Congress because they are the representatives of the people. Clinton got us involved in some conflicts in Kosovo. Again, at least this one was approved and included NATO. So again, we're at least working with our allies and not trying to go it alone, because that is just a recipe for the disaster. There's a reason the UN has been around for almost 100 years in some form. It started as the League of Nations after World War I, and it became the United Nations after World War II. George W. Bush, 9/11, okay, the biggest military attack on our soil since Pearl Harbor. And even then, he at least asked Congress for a authorization to use military force. Even after 9/11, if there was ever a time for us to strike back quickly and there wasn't time for congressional consent, that would have been it. And even then, that's not what happened. Obama got us involved in some stuff in Syria and Libya. Again, that was kind of a humanitarian thing. We felt like people's lives were being put in danger. We were trying to battle ISIS, which was a major terrorist organization. So there's a little bit of understanding Bill there. I kind of understand. He still didn't have congressional support, which I firmly believe in. I believe that is a foundational cornerstone of our Constitution that needs to start being respected. Let me see here. So Trump's done this before. He's literally bombed Iran before, trying to supposedly instill a maximum amount of pressure in order to negotiate. But here's the thing, when a cornered rat is backed into a corner, they don't stop and say, oh, I'm going to negotiate with you now so I can go free. They attack. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're cornering Iran and making them feel like they have no choice but to attack. And I don't know if anybody else has heard this, but there's missing nuclear material. It sounds like we probably didn't destroy everything. Now there's suddenly this new facility that's twice as deep into a mountain as the original one that we already struggled to get to. So this was just a very poorly thought out, poorly executed plan that if they weren't already trying to get a nuclear weapon, they're certainly going to be racing to get one as soon as possible, because that's the only way they're going to feel safe, since we've already bombed them for basically no reason. Biden had some military things going on in his administration. In reality, though, those were really the remnants of Iraq from George W. Bush and Syria from Obama. And a big part of what he did was trying to get those people out. But even with what he was trying to do, he still didn't have congressional approval for those people to be there, which again is why I think he was really trying to pull forces out of those areas. Here's the thing. Right now, we are all alone. We have no UN support, no NATO support, no backing from any of our allies, UK, France, Germany, Canada, Mexico. Nobody's on our side. When even your allies have stepped back and even your friends are like, whoa, dude, I don't know what you're doing, then that's when you need to know that, hey, I need to look in the mirror and say, hey, what's up? What am I missing here? This is the first time that I know of, actually, no, I apologize. This is the second time that I know of that America has been the aggressors and, in my personal opinion, in the wrong. The first time was the War of 1812, in which it's my understanding, and I'm not an expert on this by any means, so if somebody is an expert, please share your information with me, but it was my understanding that we were trying to invade Canada in the War of 1812. And that didn't go well for us, because guess what? Canada is still a country, and they will continue to be a country, regardless of what some people might say. But other than that, we've always, been defending ourselves or standing up for the little guy. That's what we do. That's who we are. And that's not what this is. And the more irrelevant Congress becomes, the less the people are given a voice. The more I really fear for the future. We need to go back to the bedrock of our Constitution in so many ways, but especially in military action and declarations of war. We need to completely reject the concept that one person has the power to speak for our entire nation and declare war on another country. The bombing of Iran was flat out wrong. But even worse, it's not even that surprising. And that's what needs to change. So I would like to close back with FDR. I've mentioned before on this channel, I'm a huge FDR fan. I have been since I was 10 years old. So 20 plus years of an FDR fan. And I know he wasn't perfect by any means. He had his flaws. He cheated on his wife, all those things. I'm very aware. But he was a good leader, and he did what was best for the American people, even when that meant doing things that weren't in the best interest of the people he grew up with, because he really was considered a traitor to his class. You know, he wanted to make the world and the life in America better for the people who struggled to get by. And that's why Social Security is one of his legacies. So I just circle back, you know, he gave an incredible speech and detailed exactly what happened and why he was asking Congress for that declaration of war. And that needs to be the standard. If you want to declare war, if you want to send American lives and American troops to die and fight for a cause, there needs to be a explicit statement to Congress as to, this is what I'm asking for, this is why I'm asking for it, and I am asking you to approve this. That is the standard. So if anybody wants to have a conversation, I'm open to comments. But otherwise, just take this opinion for what it's worth. It is my personal opinion based on the information that I have researched and the way I personally view the world. So thank you. I just wanted to really share it because I feel like this is a very pivotal moment in our country. Thank you.